All right, chapter 3-3A through D, solving two-step equations. Okay, so our essential question here is, how do you solve a two-step equation? All right, two-step equation is a two-step equation because you're having to do two different operations. You may have to do an addition or subtraction problem, and then still have a multiplication or division problem left to solve. Okay, what it also is, it's a combination of the two things we just did. Okay. Now remember, we've been working PEMDAS in reverse to solve for that variable, to get x isolated by itself, or whatever letter we're using. Wherever that variable is, we want to get it by itself on one side. And since we're doing PEMDAS in reverse, we're getting rid of addition and subtraction first, and then multiplication and division. We're also doing the opposite operation to do that. So everything we've done the last couple of weeks is still the same. Just do them step by step. Get rid of subtraction and addition first, and then multiplication and division. Okay? And then, of course, like always, we're going to kick it up a little bit and throw your curve in there. So first thing we want to do to solve a two-step equation, undo the operations and reverse order the operations, order of operations, what I just said. So we're going to undo addition and subtraction first, and then multiplication and division. So here's an example. Solve for the variable. 4x plus 5 equals 13. You have addition right here. Okay, let's back up. Let's isolate our x first. There's our variable right there. Okay, so relative to my variable, I am adding 5 to it. So I want to get rid of that first. Okay, and I do that by doing the opposite operation to both sides. I subtract 5 from both sides. So those cancel out to 0. I get 4x plus 0 is 4x on the left. And then 13 minus 5 is 8. Now I've got a multiplication problem. We just got done doing this. So you undo multiplication by dividing both sides by the 4. So that cancels out to 1x, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. 5t plus 8 equals negative 2. Isolate my variable. There's my t. Okay. I'm looking for addition and subtraction first. I've got a plus 8. So subtract 8 from both sides. That cancels out to 0. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Bring down my 5t. I've got multiplication divided out. That cancels to 1t. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Boom. Okay? Same thing we've been doing. Just take it step by step. Don't try to do it all at one time. Get rid of addition and subtraction first. Here's a real world problem. A fitness club is offering a special deal to join. It will cost $22 to join and $16 a month. How many months can you use the gym if you only have 150 bucks? Okay. So how many months? I don't know. So let M equal the number of months, M. Any letter you want. Now, I go back and start rereading it. Special deal. $22 and $16 a month. So that's $22 plus $16 for every month. Okay, if you did it twice, it'd be 16 times 2. If you did 3 months, it'd be 16 times 3. If you do it M months, it'll be 16 times M. Okay, that's where that comes from. So there's my variable, and this all equals 150. So there's my variable. Get rid of addition and subtraction first, so subtract the 22 from both sides. So the 22 plus 16M equals 150. Subtract the 22. You get 16M equals the 128. Now I'm right here, divide it out. That cancels out to 1M. That goes in there 8 times. So you're good for 8 months with $150. Okay? So that's two-step equations. Now let's kick it up a little bit. What happens if you get a variable on both sides? Okay? What I mean by that is something like this. 7x equals 5x plus 6. You see you got letters on both variables on both sides. What you want to do first, and there's more than one way to do this, but this is the way I'm going to present it, okay, is that we want to add or subtract the variable on both sides to get them all on one. And what I mean by this is right here. I've got 7x equals 5x plus 6. I want to get my x's on the same side. How do you cross the equal sign here? Well, when it's all addition and subtraction, we do the opposite sign. Well, I've got a plus 5x right here. If I subtract the 5x from both sides, that cancels out. I'm just left with 6 over here. and I get 7x's minus 5x's is 2x's. That's where that comes from right there. Okay, I want to add or subtract over doing the opposite operation. This is positive, so I subtracted so that I get my x's together. Once I do this, it's just like what we talked about up above and what we've been doing in here. Okay, divide out your 2's, x is 3. We'll be looking at more of that as we go. Okay. Real world example. Bill averages 10 points a game and has 110 for the season. Aaron averages 12 points a game and has 96 points in the season. How many games will it take them to have the same number of points? Okay. If you're averaging 10 points a game, that's 10G, right? 10 points for every game. So if you want to know how many points would you have in 3 games, 10 times 3. 4 games, 10 times 4. G games, 10 times G. So if you play G games, you take 10 times G, that's how many points you have, plus the 110 you already had. When is that going to be the same? Well, that means equals the 12G, playing the same number of games, adding different points, and you have a different. This guy has 96 already, but he's averaging 12 points a game. So when will the two be the same? So I got G's on both sides. That's the first thing I want to notice. That's the first thing I want to deal with when I get variables on both sides, just like we did up here. Okay, now I like to keep my G's positive, or my letters positive. So I would subtract 10G from both sides. So my 10G plus 110 equals 12G plus 96. For me, I would subtract the 10G because it was positive, so I got to do the opposite operation. That cancels to 0. That leaves me 110 over here. And now I get a positive 2G's left. I think that'll just help you if you leave that positive. So however I have to add or subtract, I want to get the side where I combine them to be positive. And I'll show you more of that in class as we go. Once you get to this, get rid of addition and subtraction first. So I get 2G equals 14. Divide out the 2 like I did right here. So G is equal to 7. Whoops. Okay. So we'll keep working on this word problem stuff too, how to set up your problems. All right. So let's take a look at a couple examples. 6R, negative 6R plus 1 equals negative 16. There's my variable. I want to get it by itself. Get rid of addition and subtraction first by doing the opposite operation. I get negative 6R equals negative 18. If you're at negative 17 and you subtract one more, you're going to negative 18. You got multiplication here, so divide out by the negative. Signs are the same, so it's positive 3. R equals positive 3. How do you know if it's right? Plug it back in. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18, plus 1 is negative 17. And that checks. 22 equals 4x, or 4h minus 6. There's my variable. I've got subtraction, so I want to do the opposite. I want to add it. So that cancels out. I get 4h over here. I get 28 here. I've got multiplication, so I've got to divide it out. 7 equals h. And 4 times 7 is 28, minus 6 is 22, so that checks. Okay. I've got x's on both sides. I want to subtract the 4x rather than the 5x, because when that's gone, I get 11 here. But 5x minus 4x is positive 1x, so I kept that positive. That's ultimately what I want to do. If you want to subtract the 5x over here, you can do it. You're just going to get a negative x. Just have to deal with that. Got a positive 7. Get rid of addition and subtraction first. 4 equals x. There's no multiplication or division, so we're done. Last problem. Got x's on both sides. I'm going to add this 3x. Because what that does is negative 1x plus 3x is a positive 2x. So I get that over here. Okay? I kept it positive. That's going to help you. Less confusion. Then I've got addition here, so I'm going to subtract my 3. 2x equals 1. Divide out. X equals 1/2. Okay? It's okay to get a fraction for an answer. All right? We're going to spend quite a bit of time working and solving these equations in class here. So if you're a little shaky right now, that's okay. We'll introduce it, start simple tomorrow, and we'll build as we go. Okay, but that's all of it in a nutshell right there. Okay, we'll get after it tomorrow. See you then.